Thank you so much for joining us today. We're very excited to have Louisiana come with us for some SafeSpect training. This has been a long time in the making, and we are excited to share with you this product and some of the improvements that we have implemented in it. We have not only our local staff, who many of you heard from. We're grateful that they are here to help support you. They've been using it for a period of time. We also have some national experts here with us who will provide the training today. So my name is Joel Hyatt. I work with the Chief Technology Officer. I am the Customer Engagement Director, and I'll have our team that will be doing the presenting today introduce themselves, and we'll get started. We'll start with Mr. Lohmeyer and then to Mr. Vassar.
Hi, everyone. I'm John Lohmeyer. I am the Chief of State Programs here at headquarters at FMCSA. I am also the product owner and process owner for SafeSpect. So like echoing Joel, we're excited to have you on today and look forward to this training. And I'll turn it over to Jamie.
After I stop interrupting. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jamie Vassar. I'm the technical lead on SafeSpect, work in the Office of the Chief Technology Officer. I've worked with FMCSA's roadside inspection software systems since Safety Net was in diapers and since Aspen was I helped give birth to Aspen. So been around it a long time. I really like the product we've developed here for you and hoping you will enjoy it also. Back to you, Joel.
All right, thank you, Jamie. So what we're going to do today is, we've got a lot of folks on and more people probably going to be joining us. So if you have a question, we want you to ask it. We've done this quite a few times, and so we can anticipate some of your questions, but there may be some additional things that we didn't think of or things that you want to know. Please feel free to put it in the chat, and we will all monitor the chat as we go through the session today. We found that this session usually takes about 2.5 hours, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more, probably a little less today, because from what I understand in talking to Sergeant Johnson, all of you have login.gov because of SIDLess or from NTC training, and that the preponderance of you have already logged in to SafeSpect. Is that correct, Captain?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that actually saves us quite a bit of time because we're not going to have to do that. So you guys are already ahead of the game. One of the things we also want to let you know is that we're working with the captain with our API, which is a way of getting information, consuming data in a quicker way and making analytic decisions. And so there's been a lot of work that's been going on in the last year to do that. And so we're really grateful for Brian Davis and some of the technical people we've been working with on that, as well as the captain and Sergeant Johnson and others. So a lot of work has gone in to support you all in this effort. But here we talk about it, and I'm involved with it every day. But you all probably don't have that opportunity, and you're kind of curious about what the difference is between Aspen and what this new SafeSpect product is all about. And so that's how we're going to kick it off today. We're going to have Mr. Lohmeyer, who is the product owner, share a little bit with you how the genesis of how this started, and then go into some of the differences. So Mr. Lohmeyer, we'll turn it over to you, sir.
You're on mute, John.
All right. Sorry about that. All right. So like Joel said, I'm going to do a quick presentation here. I know some of you have already seen this, so bear with me. But I think it's important for people who haven't seen it to really kind of see the genesis of SafeSpect. So first part of this is a short video, and then I'll jump in and do the rest of the couple of slides. So here we go.
I took it as a mission and #1 priority for me and my staff to deliver a modernized inspection platform that will be a one-stop shop to do inspections with ease, promoting more efficiency and simple to use modern technology. sitting in a small truck roadside and having to go through this many number of different things for doing a simple driver's license lookup or checking the status of a carrier, it was sad. I literally felt ashamed that that's the state of technology given the day in, day out, like the world we live in. You know, the Netflixes, the banking apps that we have, the Facebooks, the Googles, and all of those things. If we can have all of that modern technology at our fingertips in our day-to-day life, why can't we have the similar toolkit in our work life as well? The frustration of all the inspectors across our federal employees as well as the state partners are for the right reasons. The systems are antiquated, the systems are not easy or user-friendly to use, and the data, you may get the same result if you're lucky. So how do we streamline all of this and provide a simple to use one-stop shop to ensure these software solutions that we are using are exceeding the expectations of the other tools that we use in our personal life on a daily basis? We partnered with the states to ensure we understood the problem, we understood all of the base needs each state might have. We've gathered feedback, we've gathered the inputs of this is the approach we're taking, and through that collaboration, we'll continue to make a better product. As a technology team, if we don't understand what the user needs are, then it could be the coolest product in my mind, but will be useless for the actual users. We live in the day and age where technology should be bringing efficiency rather than slowing you down. Now that you have seen the dedication, collaboration, and the hard work of not only FMCSA people, but everybody that was involved in developing a brand new inspection platform, I'm very proud to introduce SafeSpect, the brand new inspection platform from FMCSA that will allow the inspectors to be able to do all inspection related activities in a one-stop shop.
All right. With that, we'll start on the first slide here with, the real, again, the main point that we wanted to do is make sure that we have a one-stop shop, because as an inspector, when you're using Aspen or some other system, you have to log into the portal, you have to log into SIDLIS, you have to log into, at a minimum 4 systems to complete an inspection, and it could be as many as 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 systems, depending on what level of inspection you're doing. So really, that's the main thing that we really had worked towards, was to have SafeSpect be that real one-stop shop, to be able to log in once and be able to complete your inspection with all the information there in that one spot. The other issue that we had that was brought to our attention was that needing to only be able to use a PC could present problems. So we wanted to make sure that SafeSpect was built in a way that it could work with any device that uses a browser, whether it's a PC, a Mac, a phone, a tablet. Really give the inspectors flexibility to be able to use just about any type of, any type of device that has a browser, to be able to complete an inspection. When we were in South Dakota for the CVSA conference, I brought my daughter's $49 Amazon Fire tablet to demo SafeSpect on, and it works. So it really works on, again, anything that has a browser. Next thing, being able to use it on multiple devices. If you're using a PC and a phone, or a PC and a tablet, or whatever you're using, you got to be able to have seamless handoffs. So again, you can use multiple devices. If you want to use, if you guys have the ability to use a phone truck side and capture driver's license information, VIN numbers, brake measurements, truck side, and then when you log into your laptop, that information is there ready to go, and you pick it up. You start on one device, finish on another, to be able to have those seamless handoffs. And probably the best example of this is, if you've ever used Netflix on a trip, and you go and you're on a plane or in a car, and you're watching the video or watching a movie, and then you don't get to finish it. You get to your hotel room or you get home, you log into your Netflix account, and on another device, and it picks up right where you left off. SafeSpect works in that same way. Automatic updates. I know this was a pain point for inspectors, for admin, for really for leadership, knowing that in order to get your Aspen updated, it could be several hours. If you include the time spent having to travel to a specific office where an admin can actually log into your computer, apply the update. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. It really is a real time suck for everybody, and it can be a waste of time for inspectors, admins, and leadership, just knowing that there's all that downtime. With SafeSpect, because it's browser based, the updates are done automatically. They're all done at the server level. So the next time that you log into SafeSpect on whatever device you're using, you have the latest and greatest version of SafeSpect. We've even done testing with while they have been performing an update, and doing an inspection in that while they're doing the update, and it just pops up with a screen in the middle there that says, "Oh, hey, log off and log back on," and you'll have all the latest features of SafeSpect. So it's real easy. It saves time for everybody, and you're always ensured to have the latest and greatest version. Connectivity, as we all know, you could be in the middle of downtown New Orleans in some spots, and there's going to be a dead zone for cell coverage capability. It doesn't matter where you are in Manhattan or out in the middle of wherever you are. SafeSpect will be able to work. It can work whether you're connected to the internet or not. I know that you probably heard me mention earlier that it is browser based and you are using the browser, but SafeSpect does cache in your browser so that you can use it when you are offline. The key is that you have to be online the very first time that you use SafeSpect, or any other subsequent time that you clear your cache. But after you've logged in that one time, if you logged in online today and you used it tomorrow out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have connectivity, you will be able to pick it up and be able to use it and collect that information. Now, obviously, the laws of physics prevent every piece of information, every system being connected to when you're offline, but you will still be able to collect that information while you're out there in the offline mode. And then human-centered design. When we were out talking to the federal inspectors, state inspectors from around the country. We found that, and Jamie knows this and Joel knows this because they have done inspections. I haven't, but it was interesting to see how everybody gets to the same point in the end, but everybody does inspections just a little bit differently. So SafeSpect is built in a way that whether you're brand new and you're not really sure what you're supposed to do, or you're still kind of learning how to the process of the inspection, the software will guide you through it. And if you've been doing it for a long time, you can skip around and do it in the order that you want. Probably the best example of this is TurboTax. So, me, I'm not real good with taxes, but I know if I use TurboTax and I hit that little next button in the bottom right, it's going to guide me through. It's going to do all the checks and make sure that I have completed my tax return, the right way. There's no errors, and it's going to let me know in the end before I upload it to send it to IRS or the state to get my to file my taxes. And also with that, if I am experienced, I can still use TurboTax and skip around however I want and enter that information in the order I want. In the end, it will do those same edit checks. SafeSpect works in that same way. There's a little next button in the bottom right. You can, after you start the inspection, it will guide you through the next logical steps of what to do and where to go, and what to do next. And in the very end, it provides all those edit checks. And again, if you've been doing inspections for a long time and the order that you want to do, and you can skip around as well. So it is flexible. And then, future proof. This was a slide that I always kind of cringe at because knowing technology, it seems like nothing's ever future proof. But the way that SafeSpect is built, it really is built in an extensible modular design that allows for easy integration with other systems and allows us to easily add other features. One of those, we've added several huge kind of feature updates as we've gone along, and it has been seamless to the end user. They just show up and they're ready to use going forward. So it's as future-proof as technology can get, and with that, we're going to continue to provide updates, to continue to look at the software, take suggestions, and continue to upgrade it. And I think we've proved that since it's been out. So it's pretty exciting to see what we have. And with that, I think I'll jump over to our, I gotta switch screens here, stop sharing for a minute. And then I'm gonna jump over into the system.
Yep,
I guess we
perfect.
could just open it up for questions
Yeah.
while I'm doing that, Joel.
Exactly. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. There's nothing in the chat, but we wanted to see if there's any questions anybody has. We're kind of building the foundation of the house here to begin with. So this is a web-based system. It's not something that you have to download onto your hard drive. And so that's very different. It works if you have connectivity. It works if you don't have connectivity. You can start on one device and finish on another device. You can use different browsers, so it gives you lots of flexibility that we didn't have previously. And from a leadership standpoint, that once you log in, you will have the latest version, which is really nice. So those are just kind of some of the things that John highlighted. I really appreciate John doing that. Is there any questions from anyone? Maybe not, and that's fine. But if there's any question, happy to answer that now. And as we go through this, please just put it in the chat, and I will monitor the chat. We'll answer it. All right, let's go ahead and then proceed. Let's see what we came for.
All right, sounds good. Can you see my screen?
We got it.
All right, good to go. So we'll try to. I'll make sure that I try to stop as well and ask if anybody has any questions. But please don't hesitate to ask any questions. There are no stupid questions. I'd like to say the only stupid question is the one that's not asked. So we're here to help you and make sure you're comfortable by the end of this. So all right, with that, you can see SafeSpect. This is the login screen. Because we're testing, I'm working in the staging environment, so there are a few limited capabilities, but there's some things that actually I think we just did our update, right, Jamie? Is it yesterday? So
No, we're actually doing it tonight.
Or doing it tonight. Okay.
So it's actually tonight. And the other thing, John, I would say is in the staging environment, it's a little slower than what you will have when you're actually in production and doing an inspection. It's just a little bit slower.
Yeah. Thanks for that qualification there, Joel. All right, so logging in, we just hit login.gov. With this, I'm sure you've already signed up for your login.gov account. Here at DOT, we actually have a government issue ID that works with our computers that makes it a little bit easier and quicker to log in. But you'll be using your email address and password to sign in, and then that two-factor authentication will help you there. So I'm just going to do this real quick so we can get in and moving. All right, and when you sign on, you can see Jamie has limited my roles. They don't want me to mess anything up here. But depending on what you're allowed to do or what your roles are within SafeSpect, you'll see what those are. So if you're an inspector and that's the only role you'll have, that's the only thing you'll have up here. If you're an approver and an inspector, obviously you'll have what you have here. They also have data quality roles. There are other kind of super admin roles. So depending on what your roles are, you will have access to those specific here. So for this, we're going to go in and do the inspector. So here you can see this is the dashboard. So normally, if you're out doing inspections, you'll start to see this dashboard fill up. It shows your 6 most recent inspections that you've done until they have been submitted and they were approved. Then they'll start to disappear, and as new ones come in, and then the older ones will kind of push out. So you can always see your entire list of inspections, one that you've done recently, just by hitting the inspections button over here, and that gives you a full list of all your inspections that you've performed in SafeSpect. And you can go in and see those, check it out, see what you've done there pretty easily. And then the other thing I wanted to show here, my father was in the Virginia State Police for 20 years after he had retired from federal law enforcement. Anyway, he was injured in the line of duty, and so this one of this particular feature, I think, is a big deal for me. I know officer safety has always been a big part of him, but we do have this dark mode. So if you're working in the evening or late nights, you can be in a parking lot or whatever, and not be lit up like a Christmas tree from your laptop. That dark mode gives you a little bit of stealth when you're working in your car or out in the field. I also actually like to work in dark mode even when I'm at home working, just because it's a little bit easier on the eyes. But I do realize it's harder to see on some of the bigger screens you might be looking at. So I'm going to switch back to that light mode just so that we can see this here. This also shows you how many inspections you've done today, how many you have pending, and also how many you've done this month. Couple other important things to note here. You do have, it's SafeSpect. This is showing me that I'm logged in as an inspector. What version I'm on up here, which to be honest isn't super important, but the help desk may ask you a question of what version you're on and ask you to log out and log back in. That can help you fix some issues if you have any. And then also right here, this little kind of logo looks like some big parentheses and smaller parentheses. This is actually your signal meter. So this is telling you that we're online. If we were offline, this would be red and it would have a red slash through it. So just kind of give you a little bit of a heads up there. Notifications, this is actually something that we're still working on. We'll be able to push notifications to you, as well as your leadership will be able to push notifications to you. We do have the help tab here, and then right here we can switch our role, we can view our settings and log out. So for my part, I'm going to go through a couple of the interesting features here. So to start an inspection, we can type in a DOT name or a carrier name right here, but I'm going to go through a couple of other things first before we actually start an inspection. This left navigation screen over here, we can actually look up carriers, drivers, or vehicles. just right here without having to kind of as a pre-screen, if you will. So we can look at a carrier here. I know that this is a carrier that has, some information. I can also look up by name, and this will give you, if that's if you're looking at by name, you'll be able to see all those carriers. And we can take a look at it, and we can actually start the inspection right from here. We can look at their carrier details, and this is, all the information from Query Central, some from LNI, gives you that basic information. You also notice here that this doesn't look exactly right. All these numbers are not exactly right because we are working in the staging environment. There is limited information, but as you're reviewing this in production, these will be real time and filled out with all the current information. UCR information, where they are. You can see previous inspections, whether they were done within SafeSpect or done, wherever they were done, whatever system, those will be in here. And I believe it's the last 3 years of inspections. Is that correct, Jamie?
That is correct.
All right.
I should take a moment here to mention it. If you're looking at the past inspections or driver information, you'll see what looks to be garbage in the driver's name. We just recently refreshed our staging database with production data, and for privacy laws, we had to obfuscate, that's a big word, had to mask all the real driver names. So that's why it looks like, some kind of Russian name or something in the the driver's name. So you won't see that in production.
Thanks, Jamie. And then I just pulled up another one of the carriers that I know that we do a lot of inspections on here in the staging environment. So they actually have a bunch of data here to show us that that we can see where they are. So, and let's see here. We can also look up a driver. So we can use the, let's see here. Let me try my, is this the right one? We can check a driver here. My SID list might not be working right now. So, oh no, it actually popped up. So it shows here, and then you can see right here, right in the beginning, the very first kind of bright thing you see is their drug and alcohol clearinghouse prohibited. So you know that right off the get-go, and then you can see all the other information that is included. The medical, their special, everything that you normally see in SID lists, you can see here. And then let's go to.
We had a question. We have a question online.
Oh, sure. Go for it.
It's perfect timing, because you saw there that is pulling right live. We talked about one-stop shopping, where it's pushing and pulling from authoritative sources. The question was, the UCR information, is it coming from SAFER or UCR.gov that is live?
That is coming live from the UCR database. We may have an issue today in staging because we were informed that the UCR system is doing some upgrading in their staging environment, so we may not get some responses back. But yes, all the queries we do run against the authoritative production data system, real time as that system is.
And that is just so critical. Back in prehistoric times when I was doing reviews, we didn't even have some of these systems. But now that we have them, when I'm doing an inspection, it's kind of frustrating to have to go and to one system to be able to get information, and then come back onto my inspection, then go to another system to get that information. And so from an efficiency standpoint and in making good decisions, it's just so refreshing to have everything pushed to me that I need for the inspection, for the level that I'm doing. It's just really, really nice. So great question, and keep them coming. Right. Another question came was, will the SID list show why the driver is prohibited?
No, it does not. And that is there's a policy decision from the team that runs the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse. It won't show anything if the driver is okay. It will show prohibited if the driver is prohibited, and then you need to go and check the DACH website to get the most recent information.
Great question.
Yeah,
Great question.
great. Two great questions.
And yeah, we may even take a look. You got the help button we haven't showed that can go to some of those different links already built in too.
Yep. Well, I'm going to
we'll
start
get there.
here with,
Yep,
we'll get
continue
there.
on.
Yeah,
I'm just
so-
excited, John. I'm just excited.
I could tell, Jamie. I could tell, Joel. All right. So with the with vehicles, we can look up by the VIN number, and a few different things here. This is always a little bit slow in staging. There we go. So you can see this pulls up the vehicle, past inspections on this particular vehicle. We can actually view the previous inspections if there are any, the vehicle information, license plate, state, all that good stuff. So pretty easy to see what carrier they're working for, but yeah, pretty easy to see what's happening here. Also, like Joel had mentioned, there is this help bar up here, and these are the internet links that we put in for FMCSA, but your admin actually can adjust this and have specific help links or links to websites right here, that if you need them, that are specific to your state, you guys can actually maintain that and enter those yourselves. With that, I'm going to turn this over to Jamie to show us the reports and some of the other settings that we can show. Jamie?
Yeah. Hang on.
Yeah, no worries. I'm going to stop sharing. Let you.
So I will go in here. I will choose the inspector role. And for today's training, I set up as to be an inspector in Louisiana. So I have no current inspection. Under the inspector role, you have these reports available to you. The data quality report, inspection detail workload report, inspection summary report, inspection summary workload report, inspection summary of violations report, and inspection type summary report. Most of these are reports that came out of Safety Net, the most used reports we saw there, and we replicated them in SafeSpect. If you're in your inspector role, you're going to see your information, and not your coworkers. For instance, the data quality report. This is one that was developed by FMCSA's data quality team for the Safety Net person to look at batches of records and see if there were issues. Not issues, but concerns, let's put it that way. And because we're trying to make SafeSpect as data quality proof as possible, it's a good thing for the inspector to run this report on their own data they do. You can select that report and choose a date range. You can do anywhere from a single day to a year's worth of data. It doesn't really matter. I haven't tested this the way I'm set up right now, so I'm going to go back on here, and it's not going to find anything. I don't know why I'm bothering doing this. And run this report, and it will show up. I need to find one that actually shows some information. Is that one? Yeah, let me change roles here.
Yeah,
So
I was
can
going to
show
say
you.
change roles and just show, yeah, so they can
Yeah.
actually see it.
So administrator in your agency has access to these reports also, and it checks all the data that's in there. I'll go back to say October 1 through November 1 and choose that, select view, and probably don't know if you can tell on your screen, but there's a little wheel up here in the upper left that's spinning that shows that it's doing something. And again, this is the staging environment. It's taking a little bit longer than it will in production. We do request when you run these reports that you don't try to do a year's worth or 2 years worth of data, because you are in the production system, and you could slow the whole system down for everyone. So the way this works, it shows you, what agency you selected, the date range you selected, and it will bring your attention to things that could be an issue. It reviewed almost 3,000 inspections for that month. It didn't find any issues with driver information. And what it looks for is things like unknown and parked in the driver's name, a date of birth that's less than 16 or over 90 years old. And I'm not even sure if I want to be around an 80-year-old truck driver. License number, things like unreadable or license, or um, you know, just non-alphabetic characters that show up in a license number, and with the caveat that we know that in Canada and a couple of northwestern United States, they do allow special characters in the driver license number, but it's just bringing your attention to it. The vehicle information is complete. The VINs were all accurate. Oh, y'all did a good job here. And it checks for timeliness, how many were reviewed and approved, how many were allowed to be approved by the system. And then this last one, suspicious DOT numbers. If you use DOT number 1, which is the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, it will flag that. We do have a truck or two, but they aren't normally in, or they're never in interstate commerce. And we probably know before you do if it'll be traveling through your state and get inspected. We also had a complaint from the real motor carrier whose DOT number is 999999, that one state was using that by default when a motor carrier didn't have a DOT number. So we bring that to your attention. The other reports here real quick: inspection summary report. This is the one report that only works one inspector at a time. I'm just going to pick somebody at random, not intended to embarrass anyone by any means. And let's see, shows this information here, how many inspections they did. I picked a wrong person. It's not showing anything. But these really do work. They really do. So these are the reports that are available. We can do some more things with them. A couple of them we'll cover when we do the admin training at a later date. And anything else you want to see on reports at this time? Okay, back to you, John. He's still here?
I'm talking on mute.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
You,
Jamie.
you don't have to do that, John. Your wife's not here.
Right. All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to start an inspection. So there's a few different ways that you can start an inspection. The easiest one is just right here on the main screen, and you can either enter in a DOT number.
John, hey John, you need to
Yes.
share screen, brother.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
That makes
would
it
help.
easier for them to see it.
Yeah, makes it instead of imagining. All right. So the easiest way up here is to, either enter a DOT number or a carrier name. I'll walk you through how to start one with no DOT number. But remember, if you're doing a pre-screen and you check a carrier, you can start right from there. If you're checking a driver, you can start right from there. If you're checking a specific vehicle, you can check right from that. You can start it right from there. So there's many different ways that you can start an inspection. Using the pre-screen tools, or if it's just somebody you pull in and you know that you're going to inspect them, you can start it right here. It's pretty easy. So we'll do a quick no DOT number here, and then just you want to pick the country that vehicle is from, and we'll say I'm actually just going to say Alabama, because try to keep this quick. You pick the city, the carrier name. So if there is no carrier name, you can either write none, or write the driver's name in there, because he may be the carrier trying to mask it or whatever. The street address of if you don't have the street address of that particular carrier, again, depending on what your policies are, I know some of the other states make sure that they capture the driver information here, if it's just so that we have somebody to kind of go back on. And then the reason for no DOT number. So whether, if they're an intrastate carrier, if they're exempt for whatever reason, just no DOT number. If it's a government vehicle or other, and obviously if you select other, you're going to need to put in whatever you're going to put in there. So, and then you can start the inspection from here. For this demo, I'm not going to do that, but you can start that inspection right here if you like. What we will do is we will start up here by typing in a carrier that I happen, or at least it used to be, that they are out of service in this section here. So we'll take a look here. And so this carrier, it does have a federal out of service order. And again, pops right up here. We got the red dot. We have the big pink red notice here that they have the federal out of service. Yes, they're federal out of service. And it also shows why they are out of service. So we can actually, it's the newer entrant failure safety audit. So we can go right here and we can actually, by selecting this and then selecting the level of inspection, we can actually open up the violation tool and cite that violation right here while we're doing it. And so we have that. We can see up here that they're right up here. This is red, so it is, that shows that means that there is at least one violation that is an out of service condition. And again, here we can see we got the red dot, blinking at you, saying that they have a federal out of service order. The great big banner right here. Their inspection value is 100, so we know that we really should inspect them. Their IFTA, their DOT status, and then their UCR is all bad. So they have lots of issues. that we can see. So, and then we can look at their carrier details as well. So I'm not going to do that right now, but, and part of your investigation, you realize, oh, actually, you know what? That's not really the carrier. It's another carrier. So I'm going to go ahead and I can change that right here. And this says, are you sure that you want to change the carrier? And we're going to hit yes. And I'm going to put in who the actual carrier is. And then we come back and we see this here. The first thing I want to point out to you is up here, the violation, right? So the violation went away because that violation was for that specific carrier. And so the system is smart enough to know, hey, I know that is with that carrier, not with this carrier. So it gets rid of that violation for us. And here, there's lots of great information that you can see. So first, we'll kind of work from the top down. First, we have this progress bar up here, and you see it says carrier, level, vehicle, driver, finish. So these are all the different stages of the inspection that you can actually skip around if you want to. But for this demo, we're actually going to use it like, just like I like to use TurboTax and hit that next button here in the bottom right. Also up here, you can see that there's been 3 minutes elapsed since we started the inspection, and then you'll notice that this TMP number right here. This is actually a temporary number. The system does not generate an actual inspection number until you have submitted the inspection, and then that way, if for some reason you're like, you know what, I'm actually not going to inspect this guy, you can come out and you can delete that draft, or you sure you want to remove that inspection, and then it's gone. So you're not wasting a number and have to jump to your next number. This is, making sure that you stay on whatever number you're on. So we'll go ahead and start that up again. We'll come back again here, and you can see that time is reset for that. And then up here, you're going to see they have these kind of cool little icons up here, and you'll see different icons show up on different screens as we go through the inspection. So the first one is the change the carrier, and we saw how to do that. The other one is carrier details. This is something that we also showed on, or I showed on the other screen under the pre-screen, and this is the query central and LNI information that you get. So you have the carrier details, their statistics, their basics. You can see that this carrier actually has a crash indicator alert. Their insurance looks good. Contact information. Violations history. You can see that this carrier, what they have, and the warning thresholds. So lots of great information, really easy to get to right here. We can also look at previous inspections for this carrier, and we can see, you can see there's 362 inspections, and in the staging environment, because we obviously we use this carrier a lot, but I can come in here and I can look at, we can see that, here's the driver, and I can actually view that inspection here by hitting the little eyeball. And then you can see this is a summary screen of, we can see that this inspection took an hour. It's been approved. Here are the vehicles, any violations, the shipper, I see what you're talking about, Jamie. Masking information. Bugs Bunny is the driver. So and then we can actually view the physical report if we want, and you can see the whole report here. You can print that report if you'd like, and there's more print options. We can print with the notes or without the notes, and then we can also see the notes if there are any notes on the system. If we make a note here, you notice that it actually has my name, and it will put your name and the timestamp of when you entered that note for whatever that reason is that you needed to do that. And again, you can see that violation counter up here as well. So just to show you that, and then we'll also point out that this previous inspections, you can view it by vehicle, you can view it by driver. Obviously, I'm showing you here that you can view it by the carrier. So as you go through, you're going to have multiple opportunities to check previous inspections on whether this vehicle has been used by several different carriers or the driver's driving for a whole bunch of different carriers. You can see all their history going forward. So I'm going to hit next here.
John, on notes,
yes,
we have a question.
yeah.
That is, will we be able to see the notes from other states?
Jamie?
I believe. I need to check on that.
Yeah.
You can't really view them within SafeSpect without opening it up. Yeah, I'll follow up on that.
Yeah, we've had some policy discussions on that. And I know this has been that's a great question. This is a good group that's asking some great questions because I think that we felt that might be a policy decision to be determined by the state. That if the notes were to be shared, that would be an administrative decision. So I think that's just a note we'll take, and Jamie, you can get back and let us know, and we'll either let you know today or we'll send that to the captain.
Right.
All right. Well, I jumped the shark earlier and forgot to show the rest of these up here. So notes, again, you have notes. This will be one of those buttons that's available on every single page in here, and you can add a note. And then we'll save it, and you'll see it has the time and date stamp and what the note, and then we can, and it is selected to print on the report if we wanted to. If I don't, I can, I can say no. So whatever you can write in here, and that won't print on the report. But the one thing I will caution you is that anything that is saved, as you probably know, anything that's saved in the system, eventually could be queried by, pulled up by somebody, whether it's, during a court proceeding or through a FOIA request. Those notes will most likely be made available. So just kind of keep that in mind going forward. The other thing is you can add a co-inspector. So we can add a co-inspector if we want, whether you're doing, somebody, working with them on their 32, or it's you working on your 32, you can add that co-inspector as needed. And also we can add attachments. So you can add pictures, you can add, just about any kind of document you can see up here. The one thing I will note, make sure you know, is that the max file size is 2 megabytes. So the big thing here is we don't want somebody like taking a video of their entire inspection and have an hour-long level 1 inspection of everything in here. That isn't the most productive way to have these attachments. If you need to take a picture or make a short whatever it is, you can do that and attach that one specific item, and that makes it easier to search and be able to view going forward. All right, that was a lot on this one page. Are there any other questions that you have on this first page before we move on to the next page? All right, with that, we'll move on to the next page. So here we have the cargo information. So this cargo information screen, again, you'll see the different buttons up here. They change a little bit just to have the relevant ones for this cargo information. So I'm gonna just pick a few here to make it go pretty quick. And then we don't have to put anything here. The cargo type, I'm going to write as empty. And then you can type in the type of cargo you have here. We encourage you to use something from this from the pre-populated list, but this is you will have the ability to type in if there's something in there that doesn't quite fit. So next, we actually have here, this takes us to the carrier violation screen, so we can add, if there was a violation for the carrier that we saw, we can add those in right here, and these are all kind of categorized by carrier and by, whether it's a driver or the vehicle, and you'll see that going forward. The one thing I would suggest is to search of violations is probably one of the easier things. And when you're searching a violation, make sure you pay attention to this note right here. So you can search, if you want to search all violations, you can just take this out and then you can search them all. But if you want to narrow it down to like a vehicle violation or a carrier violation, whatever, those will actually populate here so that you can see those. So some of these,
excuse me, John, you might want to note there, in the past, we only had vehicle, driver, and hazmat violations, and now we have carrier violations, intermodal violations. So if you're used to citing, let's say, the marking requirement on the vehicle, that is now a carrier violation. There's some of the hazardous materials violations that will show up under a carrier category also. So if you're sure you got the right regulation, like John mentioned, hit that X there to clear out the topic and the category or group, whatever it's called, a group, and you'll find that violation.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yep.
All right. And then we'll go, I'm going to kind of move past this one. The next thing that we'll show you is the location function. So you can see that I'm actually located right here at DOT headquarters. And this is exactly where I am right now. So you can look at the map view or the satellite view, whichever works better. You can, it's a full kind of Google Maps functionality that you can do. You can zoom in to see and make sure that this actually exactly is where I am. And then it's going to show you the longitude, latitude. You can put in a mile marker here if you like. You can also edit the location if it's not coming up exactly right. We can type in here. Street, and then we can save that information to make sure that we have the exact where we are. But it's pretty accurate in pulling exactly where we are. So and then with that, we can move to the next here. Jamie, is there anything else that you want to say on the location screen?
Yeah. Let me just take control of your screen there for a second, John.
All right.
The agency admin will be able to load in your fixed scale facilities or any fixed locations that you have. Right now, John is set up as this fictional agency in Georgia, and these are all actual fixed location inspection location sites in Georgia. So by using this, you can go to live. It shows where you are. Click current location, and it will do that. If you choose fixed, it will show you a list of fixed locations. And then if you choose favorites, John doesn't have any favorites loaded yet. You can do that in your settings. But from the settings, I'll go back over here real quick. When you go into favorite locations, you can add one from scratch that you like like you use the Walmart parking lot in Baton Rouge all the time to do inspections, and then you can add that in there. Or you can go from your fixed locations, if you're always working at a spot there, and you select that location, that will come up in his favorites from now on. And so if I go back to, where was it? Were we doing an inspection? Uh, I think we were, yeah. Go back here and yeah, location. Now when I go to my favorites tab, he has that set up right there. And he can say, no, I'm not at 1200 New Jersey Avenue. I'm at Ringgold, Georgia, and select that location for his inspection. Okay, John, back to you.
Thanks, Jamie. That was pretty cool. So with this, we will, let's see, we'll go back to live, and we'll go to the next selection. So this is where we actually pick the level of inspection. So if you're not sure what the level is, there's a little information icon. I know that that might be ridiculous to some of you, but I'm sure that somebody will need this at some point. So for this, we're going to pick a level 1. And this takes us into our preliminary questions. And then these are the things that you can information that you can keep track of. So the first field is required on whether it's an e-screen or not an e-screen. If you're at a fixed location, chances are it's going to be an e-screen. Or if you're like Arizona that has a bunch of LPR and cameras around their state, they get notifications to their troopers right away, then they could actually be picking an e-screen from that technology. So the pre-clearance systems, whether it's a DriveWise pre-pass or a state system, and then you put in here if it's your CView, DOT reader, enforcement camera, lots of great, radiological detector, thermal imaging, weigh in motion. So there's lots of great things here. And we're just going to say a DOT reader that we can pick up that information. If it's not an e-screen, we can click on that. And you can click on either whether it's traffic enforcement or other to move forward. The other inclusions over here that we have are, alcohol control, substance abuse. We can check that. A PBBT, if you happen to have one of those systems, when we would go to the next screen, you'd be able to fill out that information, and that's laid out just like the information that you have on that PBBT. We won't do that. Hazmat. If you want to have a hazmat inclusion, if they happen to have a couple of hazmat things, and we'll go through that. If it's a post crash, and then you can, if it was an inspection completed at the scene, the report number, fatal injury or property damage, you can collect that information as well. And then if there's a drug interdiction, you can put in how many arrests were taken. So any questions on this screen? I know sometimes this generates some. We'll have a couple of questions when we get to work on the hazmat piece.
Nothing in the chat.
All right. Well, let's move to the next thing here. So next we're going to go to, let's see. Next, we're going to go to the vehicle information. So this is where we would put in a VIN number, and I have a couple of VIN numbers here. And the one thing that I want you to notice here is that there's a countdown here that actually tells you up to, it counts you down on how many of these letter, alphanumeric number letter combinations that you have left to set this in, because typing in these numbers is not always the easiest thing to do. And let's see here. And you can see here, if I leave out one, it's going to let me know, hey, that number, it's not complete. So I'm going to put in the last number here, and we got the information. We know that the truck's from Alabama. I'm putting in some fake information here. So, so you notice a couple things here. We are working to have the state and the license plate automatically populate. That is a future enhancement that is coming from this, that will come directly from the VIN. So that actually is something that is in the works. The other thing is the GVWR here. You want to put in the GVWR that is on that the plate that you can get that from. If there is no GVWR and you want to, and it isn't estimated, you can mark that as an estimated GVWR. You can also, mark this if it has a glider kit, and we know what those kind of implications are. And then we also want to confirm here that the information looks good. The one other thing on here is that there is a mileage block here for you to collect mileage. We do encourage you to collect the mileage. I know that some people are dead set against it, but this was a request by the NTSB as well as our inspectors, our internal inspectors, or investigators that are doing compliance reviews. This actually helps them greatly when they are doing those compliance reviews to make sure that we're holding these carriers accountable. So if you can get that information, we strongly encourage you to do that. But also notice it is not a required field. So we'll save that vehicle. I'm going to enter in another vehicle. I'm going to try to do this quicker here. So we got, well, pick the state, pick the state, make, and it's a Kentucky trailer. And we'll put in that information. So here you can see that we have we have a couple of vehicles here, and we're ready to, and it's telling us that we need to add in the brake information for all the vehicles. So we're going to start with the truck. And then you can see here that, all right, this particular truck has a total of 2 axles. And if for some reason it's been modified or whatever, we can change that to add, if it's a tandem, to add those 3rd axles. The other thing that you're going to notice here is that, and I'm going to come back to the second one here, but the steer axle automatically defaults to axle 1, so that you don't have to. So you're not forgetting to make that distinction. It automatically selects axle 1 as that, and then you can see the 1 and 2 axles over here. So with that, the other thing that you can do is if there's a different size air chambers on the same axle, for whatever reason, you can do that as well. So you could select a bolt on one side and a disc on the other. And I know that that's crazy, but just for example, you can select different ones on either side and be able to account for that as well. So we're going to pick a chamber. This is where I like to have Smoot doing this. So we know that it's a 6A, so I'm going to apply. These are all the same here. And then we're going to pick our measurements. We got 1 1/4, 1 1/4, and then we have a 1 3/8. And then you can see that these are, the green is within limits. Yellow is a half a defect, and the red or whatever coral color this is on your screen is actually a full defect. So that's a kind of another visual reminder, so that we know exactly where we are. That counts towards that 20%. So we can save that here.
We did have a question come in about VINs, John.
Sure.
And we have the counter, and we're pulling from an authoritative source on VINs with the 17. What if you encounter a trailer that doesn't have a standard 17? How do you move forward with that? Say it's a homemade trailer.
Great question, and thank you for calling me out because I messed up John's awesome script here. So yeah, because John always does that before he adds in the trailer. So up here, you're going to notice that you have a manual way to add a vehicle. So if there's less than 17 digits on the VIN, or there is no VIN, you can't enter that up here. You have to go over to here to add a vehicle. So we'll put in the state of where that is from, and then if there is no license plate, or I mean, if they're type, and whether it's a the different type of vehicle, and obviously most of the time this is going to be a homemade trailer, and then what year is it from? VIN, if there is no VIN, we can type none, or if there is a number, and we'll just say 9 here. And then Jamie, do you remember what the name of the homemade?
You have to go to the bottom and select other.
Okay, got it.
And then type it in. Yeah.
All right. And then if we'll just say estimated GVWR. So you'll see here, this is still in red. I'm going to hit save, and then it pulls up again, and it's going to say, all right, the VIN is less than 17. Are you sure that is right? And then this just makes sure that those VINs match, so that it's intentional that we're putting in a non-standard VIN. Again, the key is, like Jamie had mentioned, we really have built in a lot of data quality checks into the system to make sure that what we're turning in is good. So anyway, so that's how you enter in a non-standard VIN. But great question. Thank you for that. For these demonstration purposes, I'm actually going to take this out and then continue on with our breaks. So you'll see here with this, you can see the brake measurement. So we put in for the tractor. And then down here at the bottom, this has a list of all the brakes or all the axles that we have measured on here. The other interesting thing too is that the number of axles right now, I think we have it limited to 10 per vehicle. So if you have tandems, you have 2 tandems that they're pulling, and they have 10 axles on each, you can do that. We actually have had a request here recently to increase this because they have, and I can't remember what state that was that we had, they actually have these super max trailers that have like 30 axles or something crazy. So we're going to be extending this to make it a little bit bigger so that they can accommodate that. But again, you'll notice here, this is a trailer. There is no steer axle on it. So we can add the, see, somebody mentioned, I think I saw somebody mention hydraulic somewhere, but maybe not. So we can enter in the type of, and you can see because it's a hydraulic, there are no measurements needed on that. I know that probably wouldn't happen, but just for demonstration purposes to be able to show you that we've captured that information, and the system is smart enough to know that there are no measurements needed on the hydraulic brakes. And you can see the steer axle for the first one, and then these are not steer axles, the two tandems on the tractor, and then the two on the trailer as well. So you can see that. The other interesting thing here too is that you'll notice we can look at previous inspections on this particular vehicle. This particular vehicle has not had any, again, because we're in the staging environment, and I can check this one, and this one has not either. So you can actually see previous inspections that were done by vehicle as you go as well. So if there's tandems, you can check and see, maybe the one trailer has been in a, was inspected a week or two ago, and you could see that, oh, wait a minute, they had an air leak somewhere, or whatever could be a really bad violation, or a frame crack or something, and then they just sold it to another carrier, and now they're using a bad vehicle as well. So with that, we have any questions back on the vehicle? And
none in the chat.
All right, and then I'm going to turn this over to Jamie. Jamie, do you want to take over?
Okay, I'll be doing it. So you were at the vehicle, huh? Okay.
Yep. Do you want to take over mine, or do you want to?
Yeah, how about I do that? That way I can.
Okay. I apologize. I have to step away for a few minutes, but I'll be back.
Okay. You need to click approve there, John.
Uh-oh. I wonder if he stepped away without giving you control.
I think you did.
I think you did.
Okay, so I'll just take control here. All right. Share. Yeah, I know. So share and the screen here. All right, so I want to. Okay, I'm trying to share. Why aren't you? There we go. Now you should be able to see my screen, right? Before we jump into that, here's the answer on can you see inspector notes from another agency? I hope I can find where I just saved that sample. Yeah, here we go. So I found this. I did a lookup by license plate on past inspections, and I took a educated guess here that knowing that Missouri is using SafeSpect and they do a high volume of inspections, that there probably might be notes on one of their inspections. So I selected this inspection, and it comes up and I see the previous inspection done in Missouri. Don't look at the PII information or what, gouge your eyes out. And I scroll down here and there's all the information. Well, if I want to see the inspector notes, when I'll go over here to print this report, I have this more print options, and I can say print report with notes, and it generates this. And I'm not going to actually print it. I scroll down to the third page, and let's see if I can zoom in here. I don't think I can zoom in, but it does have his notes on here. It will show who put the note on, the date, the time they put it, and he put some information on here. You probably can't read that. I barely can. R114-21475 and FTOW124. And so these would be notes that the inspector added to this inspection, and he elected to print these notes on the report. So it might be something that's pertinent to you, or it might be some kind of secret Missouri code like we have here. So that's the answer to that one. Okay, so picking up where Mr. Lohmeyer left off. Whoa, where's my Zoom? There we go. Okay, home. Let's see. What role am I under? I don't remember. Okay. Oh, this is production. That's why it's showing up like that. I better switch back over here to staging. Hmm. Let's see. Choose my inspector role. You saw I had some. Okay, so I'm in here as a, this is a bad choice. I'm in here as a Louisiana inspector, and I've not started inspections yet. So bear with me while I catch up to where John was. Um, all right. And click through here and just don't have any fixed locations in there yet. I don't remember if John demonstrated this or not, but when you're doing the location, if you're doing live, you notice I click current location and my browser is asking me, do you want to allow it to know your location? I'm going to say allow, and look at that. It zoomed right in. Whoa. Right here. This is my office today, right here. It's a little bit off it right there. So, close enough. Let's select that. Skip on over here to the driver. Okay. Let's see. Did he do our driver lookup at all? I don't remember. So when you're doing, oh, okay. So like his example he used here earlier, he uses Mexican license. Notice when you change it, depending on the country you select here, the information you put in changes. If you select USA, you must put in the state and driver license number. If you select Mexico, you don't have to put in the state because all Mexican commercial licenses are Mexico. If you run across a Mexican driver that does not have a commercial license, uh, see, I think you still leave that Mexico and then the number, and it searches their entire database. And for Canada, because they don't trust us, you have to put in the state, technically province or territory. You have to give them the last name. You have to give them the date of birth. You have to give them the driver license number. And if everything there matches, they will give you a result back. If something doesn't match, it tells you there's no result found. So I'm going to use this Mexican guy here. Oh, wrong one. Search, and takes just a second here. Driver lock found. It worked for John. Why isn't it working for me? Interesting. Well, I'll use my Pennsylvania guy that I know always works. And again, because we're in our testing environment, the SIDLA system has very limited test data we can inquire against. And Mr. List Message PennDOT is one of them that works. You see it comes back with all this pertinent information. This is commercial class, this is non-commercial class. This particular driver is not eligible for commercial. No endorsements, no restrictions, no medical examination. Click that is what matches to what I have. I click on to the next page. Oh, let's see, I need to pick an inspection level, don't I? And so click on the next page. Oh yes, I can also check for previous inspections on this gentleman, and there should be a few because I use him quite a bit in my testing. And there you see had 9 inspections on this guy. And if I want to go back and see what happened on January 16th, I can open this inspection and see that he was driving this truck and tractor and there were no violations. No violations, but the brakes were on adjustment. How'd that happen? Only in the testing world, folks, only in the testing. So I go on to the next page and we have the chance to run the ELD. This is not working in staging right now. Not sure why. We're getting that fixed. It does work in production. Can put in this error connecting. Okay. So when you get this back, you will get a response that shows a summary of what issues there could be potential issues with 4 different factors on the ELD, or there's not. And then there'll be an icon for the eRide system over here. It's web eRides, not the local eRides. That's an enhancement we have coming, but it does have an icon for the web eRides. If you click that, it will open up web eRides and allow you to look into the details of the driver's ELD status. You also have the option of there's no ELD required. When you choose that, you have to pick a reason. And these are from the regulation why an ELD was not required. We get a request often to add something to this list, and I don't remember exactly what that is, but it's actually captured under one of these 4 reasons from the regulation why that driver is not required to have an ELD. And you also have other, and you can say he's allergic to ELDs. I don't know. Or the other option is the driver could not transfer to the ELD web service. You select that, you can move on off this page. Click next. Okay. Preliminary questions. Other. And at least one vehicle. Okay. Feel free to take a nap for about 30 seconds while I get this updated. Save. All right, now I can move on. So get to the violation tab on the driver. As you saw when we were selecting violations for vehicle, you can select from one of these cards down here. It shows you the regulation, the federal regulation, the violation code that goes with that. I personally don't like the way it's all crammed together there. We've got to fix in for that. But you can read the description, choose the appropriate violation, and you'll be prompted for a series of questions. Service until how about that? And I'm going to write him a citation. If you do choose to write a citation, the citation number is required. If you select a warning, the citation number is optional. You don't have to put in a citation number for a warning. And if you choose none, then you don't put anything there. There we go. You can also go over here to the search violations tab again. You can list all the types of driver violations. You can search by a particular regulation, or if you know the beginning of the violation code, you can search it. You'll also notice this level indicator here, which is disabled. If you were doing a level 3 inspection and you were on the vehicle tab, you would not be able to add any vehicle violations on the level 3. There's also, I think that's the only place that comes into play, really. If you're doing a level 3 inspection and you're trying to put vehicle violations on it. The other thing over here you can do is tags. I just want to look for critical violations on the driver, and this probably should not be a driver violation. That's a vehicle violation. Or if I want to look at intrastate violations that are done, an intrastate violation would be something to the effect of out of service order on an intrastate carrier. Shipper violations or traffic violations also. So let's look for traffic violations. All these come up as traffic. The violation codes have been updated from what you're used to seeing in Aspen. In some cases, they make a lot of sense. In other cases, it's a little bit harder to determine what the code actually means. I do like the way on this one they have the word texting just right out there. Driver prohibited against texting in a vehicle. Select that. Put in the violation specifics. Move on. And this is usually where John Smoot, if he was here, would tell you again, emphasize that the violation search tool, this tool here, is your friend. There's over 1,600 violations in the SafeSpect. In many cases, you will have one or two. Let me start over. In many cases, you could have 2 violations for the same regulation. One of them might be the out of service condition, and the other one is where that violation has not risen to the out of service condition yet. Things like, as you saw when I pulled up 392.4, we had a violation for and a violation for he's operating while he's in possession of the drugs. And we have the violation for he's under the influence of the drugs. So take your time and look for the violations. If you're looking for something and you don't know what the new code may be, you've not been able to find it by regulation, type in a keyword out of the description. Let's just say speeding. It's an easy one to find. It looks at the violation text and it finds it in there. And as I mentioned earlier, let's say you're looking for 390.21. Search that here under driver. Well, that's not there. Where is it? If you're not sure where it is, clear that out. Let that say just group up there and hit search, and you'll see that the marking requirement violations are now under motor carrier. The other thing to note, let's go back to something. Okay, other thing to note is the violation allowed on this level of inspection. For the most part, all violations are allowed on every level of inspection. As you see, this passenger carrier violation, it's not allowed on a level 6 inspection. I don't want to ride on a bus that is carrying radioactive material. Likewise, there are some violations that are, if you're doing a level 3 inspection, the violation list would be reduced down to only violations that can be cited on a level 3. And then we have the column over here for out of service levels. For the most part, if that violation is out of service, it's going to be available to be marked out of service on every level. This violation here, it's not out of service on a normal inspection. It is out of service on a level 6 inspection. So you can tell right there which ones are the out of service values and which ones are not. So any questions on violations before I move on?
Nothing in the chat, but this is one I just want to emphasize again, which with the same as Jamie. This is probably one of the nuances to SafeSpect that is really different. It is a case of you have more granularity. You can really drill down and get specifically what you saw and experienced at that inspection. And so just kind of be aware of that and kind of play with this a little bit. And as you go through it, I think you'll enjoy it. This is something we worked really hard for a long period of time with CVSA to provide that increased granularity on the inspections. And once you get acclimated to it, I think people are pretty happy. All right, so we have a few questions here in the chat, Jamie. On our Aspen, it has a state tab. Is that on here?
State. If you're referring to state violations, yes, that is possible. But at this time, we've not received any state violations for Louisiana and have not enabled them. We are putting out a patch tonight, which fixes some issues we did have with state violations for the 10 states that submitted their state violation. But for Louisiana, we don't have anything yet.
And in the chat, they let us know that that's something that Sergeant Johnson and others are working on. Yeah, referring to the specialty fields. So
specialty, yeah. Yes, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that one as well. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right. So with that being done, I think the driver is complete. Then you get over to the finish tab. Now, John may have mentioned, John Smoot always emphasizes, make sure you check the color of these buttons across the top here. If one of them is red for a reason, that means there's something incomplete on there. I quickly put in enough information to make SafeSpect happy so that I can continue on. So I will click on the Finish tab, And you'll see that we have 3 items here. We have covered farm vehicles, state specific, and finish. If I just hit the next button here, it will take me to covered farm vehicles. This is a special study that is set up by FMCSA. This is a study that's been going on for a couple of years now. We've implemented it in SafeSpect right now as a special study. It is a required field. Um, and we're going to move this to being one of these special checks, preliminary checks at the beginning in the future. But for right now, it's here to remind people to do it. It's just a simple yes or no question. Is it CFV? Is it not? I'm going to select no. When I click next, I'm going to go to your state specific fields. And your state has set up quite a few across here. The ones marked with an asterisk, just like the rest of SafeSpect, are required. I don't know what information to put in here, so I'll say, okay, it's just single character. But what is really cool about the state-specific fields in SafeSpect, there's a little button over here with a tiny little letter I, if you look closely. When you hover over that, it tells you what your admin expects you to input in that field. As they set this up, they do that. So I'll put my duty status here, enter your troop. I don't know what that would be. I'm saying, okay, troop 1, how about that? And your region, you can do that. And did you put attachments in here? Enter yes or no. And I'm going to say yes. And that reminds me that I wanted to put an attachment on here. I'll get to that in a minute. You have photographs. No. Human trafficking check. Yes. I bet that says yes or no. Nope. Driver license class. That should have been captured with the driver information, but we'll say it's class B. Race other, because he came from Texas. And age was 45. I don't know. Driver's street address. 34 Main Street. What? They spelled that. I don't know. Driver's phone number in case you need to call him and tell him what a good guy he was. Terminal manager. There you go. All right. And then, oh, this is interesting. Okay, if it's not correct, we'll say it's correct. All right. That's interesting. Thank you. That's cool. And I could go ahead and click next, and I'm onto the final tab now. It's going to prompt you to make sure that the system time and time zone is correct. SafeSpect is reading the time from your computer. I believe you all are all within the central time zone, but you'll go ahead and verify that it is showing the current time in your location. It's 11:25 here in Virginia, and it's Eastern Standard Time. That's changing Sunday. You lose an hour of sleep. But I remembered I wanted to show an attachment. So a little paper clip here, I'm going to click that. And you can either drag an item up here, or if you click on that, it will bring up a standard find a thing. Dialog box. And what can I put on there? How about some Santa jokes? No, Um, I'll just add that on there, and it shows that that is now attached to that. I can also go back over here. Let's say, can't see that, can you? I'll explore. I will put this on here. Drag that on there. That quick to add there. And so I close that. There is a pending request to have some indicator right up here at the top that there are attachments. But in your case, your state admin has said, did you put attachments? Yes. So the admin knows to look at it. So put that on there, go back to the Finish tab. So if there were no violations on the vehicle, so if it had a CVSA decal on it previously, mark that none, and all this information goes away. If it did have one and it was current, I put in that decal number for the current decal, and I'm not prompted for any more information. If it was expired, I could leave it like that. And because there was no vehicle violations, it's going to say, when I get ready to save it, it's going to say, hey, why didn't you put a decal on there? So I'll put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And then if you have to open the cargo for some reason and break the seal, take note of the cargo seal number and write it down there. And then of course you're going to replace it with 1 because they want to make sure their cargo is intact. And you put in, well, you want to do, or however you number your cargo seals. After you look at your information, you scroll down to the violations. You notice that on this tab, I can sort these violations according to what unit they were attached to. I can sort them by the violation code, which apparently didn't change there. No, it didn't. And I can sort it by the unit type. Well, it's only driver violations, so it didn't change. I can sort it by the unit number, like only driver violations, it's not going to change, or by out of service violations. And it did change the sort there, put the out of service violations on the bottom. So I can click this and move it so the out of service violations are at the top. The response to the special study field was here. The response to your state specific questions is here. If I'm all satisfied with it, I can click submit. But just for the entertainment value, I'm going to take out the CVSA decal that I issued, and you will see that it gives me a warning. No critical violations exist. Enter CVSA decal or a reason why no decal was entered. So I could put that in there, or if I didn't have one, we have the standard no decals available, or other. If you put in other, you can type in reason here. And then go back to the bottom again and hit submit. It says I cited a traffic enforcement violation, but I didn't mark that this was a traffic enforcement stop. So do I want to mark this at this time? And I'm going to say no. And then you're prompted for the inspection end time. You can set this up to 20 minutes beyond the actual finish time you've used the system. This allows you to go out, hand a copy to the driver, brief him on what needs to be done before you let him go. And set it for noon on the dot and click continue. Regarding that end time, we do have enhancements coming in the future where on level 7 inspections, if you're doing level 7 state specific inspections, we're going to allow some leeway on that. And for level 5 inspections, we're going to change that so that more or less do data entry of the inspection data once it's completed. So once the inspection's been submitted, comes up here, it shows that the status is now submitted. I can print the final report for the for the driver. I can print it with the notes. I didn't take any notes on this one. Notice it's got two options here. Print with notes, that's any notes that I have put on it that will be printed on the report, or I can print all notes, and that would be any note I took during the inspection that that I needed for my reference, my administrator needs for his reference, but it's not to be printed. Information of motor carrier doesn't need that type thing. So I can view it here, and you see at this time, it does have the final report number put on it and the date and time.
Hey, Jamie, we do have a question. If you could kind of go back and clarify one more time on the times, and if you need to change that, and we can give some of the reasons why. Can you print? Let's see here. Does it allow you to go back and change the start time? And then can you print before clicking on the finish button? Do a preview.
Yeah. So
yeah.
When you start an inspection, you have that 20-minute flexibility also. It has here the start time. You can go 20 minutes into the past. I could go back to 11:36 Eastern time on here and say that's when I actually pulled him over and decided to do an inspection. Once the inspection has been submitted, you cannot change the start and finish times. So there's that. The other option, there's not enough information here yet for me to get to.
Hey, Jamie, the other question was, can you preview before clicking on the finish button?
Yes, you can preview. I got to get some more minimum information in here real quick. Yeah. Click that and 5. How about that? And it's one of the first buses ever made. Break that. That bolt's an old type. Nah, just make it electric brakes. 1900 truck. How about that?
I'm so glad this is staging.
Yeah. Preliminary questions. Oh, I did that. Shouldn't even ask that for a level 5. Okay, so I'll go to the finish tab. You can click preview. And when I click preview, you notice there is no report number. All the information is on here, and you see it has this watermark behind it, not intended for public. We do not have a print button from here. This is not the final one. But you can preview it. Back up. It only becomes printable once you've hit the submit button. Which brings me back to my first inspection. Any more questions on that? Nope. Okay. I should have put a vehicle violation on here to show you. Okay, so I've submitted it. I can't, it's not been approved yet, but I can edit the inspection at this time. I hit edit inspection. It's going to ask me, why am I editing it? I'm going to add an additional violation. I noticed something after I thought I was done. Give my reason on there, and this shows up. This will be saved as a note on your inspection, and you don't have a choice whether you can print or view this one. You see here, I cannot change the beginning time at this point. I'm going to go over here to the vehicle. I'm going to put a violation on it. And let's just say found a crack. There we go. Do that. And I go over to the Finish tab now. And click my preview. You see now that I do have well, that's interesting. What happened to my violation? Violation. Shows it being there. Yeah, there it is right there. Okay. I go to my preview. Oh, yeah, that was it. I didn't recognize it. There's the new violation added down there. So, okay, notice it changed back to draft status because I made an update to it. Done that. I'm going to submit again after I made this additional violation on here. And same answer as before, no to that. I can view it. It has a report number, has that extra violation. So, cited that violation on there. Driver comes back and says, oh, we fixed the crack in the frame. We put some duct tape on it. Or Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape is really good. So now I can come back in and I can say, edit the inspection. I'm re-inspecting it. Change that. And I go down here to the violation. Once it gets through loading, Finish tab, find the violation right here. I can edit this violation and say it was repaired at the scene. Why is it not allowing me to do that? Must not be a critical violation, but so that's where you would do that and would show the verification there. All right. Bad demonstration. Sorry about that. And then once again, you have to submit it after you've made that change. Okay. Any questions?
Yes. Okay. On the notes, is there a limit like Aspen? Sometimes we have to do a paper continuation report notes in order to do notes for all of the violations.
Even better. Open this one up again. I can add a note here. And here's the option to print it on the report or not. Save that. I can put in another note. This is a new note. And you notice you also have the ability to, I can make, bold, I can make it underlined. Save that one, print it on the report. I can say, this driver was not a nice person, but I don't want that to print on the report. So I say that, save that. These are up to, I can't remember the number of characters we allow. These are each very large, and you can put as many of these on the report as you wish. And all the reports actually print, all the notes actually print on a separate page. If I was to go over here to the Finish tab and show you the preview, here's the main inspection information. Get here to the second page. This is where the state information, your state optional fields will print. And wow, keep closing the inspection. Stop it. Yeah, it's not allowing me preview the notes, but if I were to, well, I did it again. Let's use this one here. That was already submitted. And if I go over here and I say view report or more print options, I can say print report with notes comes up. Where to go? Oh, that's a problem.
It's still spinning.
Yeah, but it should have given me that print preview page. Okay, when I preview it here, I should be able to see print report with notes. And here we go. Comes
There
up
you
like
go.
this. There's your state optional fields page. And sure why that one came up. And down here, here's the two notes I added on this one.
Yep.
And then if I do that and I say print all notes, this is just the notes page. Shows the carrier information, driver, location, and just my notes for that inspection. So if there was any notes that I elected not to print on the report, then I could list all those reports. Now then, one thing I don't think we've covered yet, speaking of notes, the person in your agency with the approver roles, those people, they can add notes to an inspection. The data queue analyst can add notes to an inspection. The admin can add notes to an inspection. And all those stay with that inspection for the life of that inspection. So you don't really need a continuation page, but you can add notes on there to your heart's content. So, any more questions so far?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay. So I will briefly, very briefly, cover the data queue analyst role. Before I do that, I'm going to go back and add a citation on this one. I'll go over here to finish tab. And let's see. Oh, I did do a citation on the driver. Okay. Go ahead and do this one on the vehicle too. So there's citation on here. Okay. And it's not letting me change that. I don't know why. And save that. And submit again. And then again, if I will choose print all notes, that is not working. That's either that or it's printing all these inspections at work on the big printer there. I need to check on that.
What happened?
So if I come into here as a data queues analyst, this will show any inspections. It's spinning right there, trying to find anything. I think just the last 6 inspections done, period, by anyone. In my agency, I should clarify. Yeah. So it's got these on here. That's interesting. Okay. And I have the data queues analyst in 2 different agencies right now. That's why you're seeing these others. Okay. And I know that this driver went to court and the court amended the violation for the cracked frame, and they sent it back. So I can go in here and I can select this inspection. And come down here. It's supposed to be allowing me to edit this. Why is it not allowing me to edit this? It's the one I did today. Look. I think I know the problem. Hang on. Yeah, it's right there. All right, something's not working right here. The data queue analyst role, you pick one of these from the other group that I'm in. May not have any violations. There's something up. I'm not doing something right or I'm not set up right. The way this would normally work is that I select a violation of an inspection. Here we go. Here's one I can edit. Data queues analyst has gotten the information back through a data queues that it says, you know, the court changed their mind. So the data queue analyst would click edit inspection. And it just dawns on me that your data queues analyst is probably in Boston today at that conference. I go to the finish tab and I find a violation and I edit it. And well, this is a post-crash inspection. Good. Change. I could edit that information. Here's what I'm looking for right here. There was a citation issued. Got information back from the court. Court says, oops, no, we didn't like what you cited. So the data queue analyst can put in a citation adjudication result here. Let's say they decided it was not guilty. They put in the data queues number, which I don't know how high they've gotten right now. The date that they're modifying this inspection, I'll put it yesterday, and a note about it. And this will be stored in the notes. The future of this will be we will interact directly with data queues, two-way. Data queues analysts coming into SafeSpect can select an inspection and then open up data queues from within here to put the information back. Data queues analysts can be working in data queues, find the inspection, open up SafeSpect directly to that inspection to be able to make those changes. Okay. All right, and then click save at the end. Now that inspection will be resent to our data lake and to MICMAS, so it can be counted on SMS scores. We'll cover that again for your data queues analyst if they need further training on it when they're available. Now, any questions before I go to the approver role?
Nothing in the chat.
Okay. If you have the approver role, hopefully it will be divvied out so that one person doesn't have to do the approval for your entire state. Could be set up on your regions, or you might have auto approve selected, and I'll cover that in a minute if that is the case. When you go in to SafeSpect with the approver role, it will show you in this view on your dashboard, just like for the inspector, up to 6 inspections that have been submitted and are requiring approval. If you need to see more, you click on the inspections tab and it will bring up more of them. Either way you want to get to them, you can do it just as simply as this. You click on the view button. It will bring up the summary tab, and you happen to know as an approver that this inspector is one of your best, never makes errors, everything is fine. You can just go on down here and click approve right there. Piece of cake, you're done. Or let's say USHQ01 is very new, as you saw him stumbling through this inspection today. So you want to take a look at it a little more closely. First thing you might want to look at is the preview, the report, since that's what you would normally see. And you're looking at things here and you say, I don't like the way didn't put a milepost on here. Um, and he misspelled this here. Say, well, if those are issues, maybe there's other issues I should look at also. So I'm going to go back in here and I'll click on Edit Inspection. This allows me, even if I'm not going to edit myself, this allows me to view every screen. I can look at it and say, this guy's not paying his UCR fees. That's not good. Click on the next, but he didn't cite it over here. Look, he's got it going from the same place to the same place, and there's no shipping paper number. So you can go through each thing and find what you don't like. As an approver, if it's something minor and you just want to get it out of your way, you can go ahead and fix it yourself in edit mode. If not, if you want the inspector to learn from his mistakes, you scroll down on the finish page and you hit decline. And it's going to prompt you for a reason. Did a bad job. Fix it. And this will show up on the inspection notes. Shows up the status is rejected. If I go and look at the inspection notes, which that is not working right there. So now going back to my dashboard, it shows that this inspection was rejected and this one's still in the submitted state. What the inspector sees is next time he goes into SafeSpect on his dashboard, it says, wait a minute, this was rejected. My boss rejected this inspection. I don't like him anymore. Clicks it open and want to look at the notes, see why he did it. And it says, you did a bad job, fix it. Oh, well, I guess I did. Okay. So I'll go over here and on the driver tab, fix something on the driver, let's say. Took out his middle name. That wasn't his real middle name. Okay. Click all information look good, save it. Go over here to the finish tab. Submit again. And go back to my dashboard. Now show it submitted again. The approver comes in and sees, oh, look, he's fixed it. He submitted it. I open it up. Let's do a quick glance to see if the thing I wanted fixed was fixed. And yes, it was. And now, oh, why is it closing every time I must be clicking the wrong place on it? I'm happy with it now, and I click approve. And now that inspection is off the approver's dashboard, and it's on its way. Okay. Any questions on those two roles?
Also, folks, one of the things we haven't said is this isn't a one and done. We will give you a copy of this recording, and we apologize that John had to leave. He had a meeting he had to go to, which we didn't anticipate, but we will be available for additional sessions, or if any questions pop up. We also have a series called Office Hours for SafeSpect that we get together and invite all the users to ask any questions. We show what the latest releases are, what we anticipate coming out, and then kind of have built a community of folks who are using it, and they've been very helpful for enhancements and for bringing up issues that they're experiencing and how other users are resolving things within their various jurisdictions. So it's been really good for that. Let's see, I think we have a comment in the chat. Us as an inspector, can we go back and look at old inspections we've done?
Yes, yes, you can. Right now, it's only going to show you your SafeSpect inspections that you've done. You saw me here. I'm in there in the inspector role right now. I chose the inspections from the left nav bar, and by default, it only shows the approved or submitted ones. I can go over here and click this filter and also have it show my draft ones. So it'll show that this one that's still in draft mode, I can see it, and it will list all my SafeSpect inspections. In the future, of course, as you do more SafeSpect inspections, there will be more here. But in the future, we're also going to associate those that you've done in other systems, whether it be Aspen or a third-party system. When they're imported into SafeSpect, they will be available, and you will be able to review those in the future. Right now, we have to associate them with your new account that you have in SafeSpect. So I wanted to bring up something that I don't think we've covered yet. You all are currently set up in SafeSpect in production. You can begin using it as long as your
Management.
Yeah, as long as your management agrees. This system, go back to the landing page. This warning here, this isn't just something to take up space. This is an official government system. Once you hit the submit button, that data is stored. It's considered under the National Archives Administration an official record. It becomes an official government record. So don't play in the system. It's anything you submit becomes an official record. That no one in your agency can delete inspections that have been done that have been submitted that way. We can do it, but we require justification for it. And if we get a lot of, oh, it was a mistake, we were training someone, things get a little tense. We do have a training environment almost ready to be stood up. Once that is done, we're going to make that available to everyone. It'll probably have some restrictions, like it won't do real-time SIDless checks, things like that. And by all means, the data in it will not be official government records. You can put whatever you want in there. Keep it clean, though. So that being said, if you are an inspector and you need to practice, you can practice in the production system. Yeah, I didn't type my number right. Up to the point of clicking the submit button. What's it doing? Here we go. Okay.
So Jamie's just tempering this because
Yeah.
we've had issues with people in production. They get carried away. They submit on something they were playing, and that will actually go. And then we have to remove it because it could infect the SMS score of a carrier, etc. But
Yeah.
that being said, you are more than welcome to go in to production, kind of play with it, get a sense of what you can do, kick the tires literally and figuratively of SafeSpect, and go all the way up to submit. You could delete it, do another one, and get familiar with it. And I encourage it, especially right after we've done this training.
Yep.
And then as soon as your management says, go forth and utilize SafeSpect, then you can do it. But up until then, you will benefit by, while it's familiar, because this has got a different look. It has a lot more features than what Aspen has. Take advantage of kind of playing with it up to the point of submitting.
All right. And as long as it's in draft status, you see
Yep.
this little trash can here next to the word draft. After you've done playing with it, delete it. It's gone. Here in a second. It's there. It's gone. So yeah, please be careful with it. Accidents will happen. But okay. Any more questions on SafeSpect before we turn you loose? Hey, John's back. Or is he? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure if he's back yet or not. But all right.
Questions again? Anything you want to see? We know as you use it, you'll come up with questions. Let's see, where is that? Okay, if you need to get support, FMCSA Tech Sup at dot.gov, or the long-standing phone number 617-494-3003, option 1. It's the generic one, so DOT's 5 help desk or OCIO, don't call them. If you think it's a bug with SafeSpect, if you need instruction on how to do something, this is where you call FMCSA Tech Sup. They may not be able to help you right away, not that second. If it is something pending, you're on the side of the road with a driver, let them know that, and they will get to us as quickly as possible, and we can respond back. If it's a problem with your login.gov account, we don't manage that. That's a whole nother part of federal government, but you can contact them. They have a help page. They have a manager account page. They have a phone system that operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In my experience, they have been very helpful and very friendly. And you're talking to someone in the United States too. So you need to know how to do something in SafeSpect, tech support. If you have an idea for an enhancement, little change on this one. If it's an idea for an enhancement, we'd like you to submit that idea through the CVSA Information Systems Committee. Holly Scar is the chairperson. She will review those, vet them in front of the committee. If they think they're a valid enhancement, then they submit those to us, and then we put it in our backlog and go through it. And that's only done so we can just, manage the volume. And it's very possible what you see as a possible enhancement. It's already been suggested. We're already working on it. So,
and I would say on that too, that I would push that up through your chain, through Sergeant Johnson, through Captain Burt, and let them be aware of it as well, because if they hear it from one inspector, they might hear it from another inspector, and let it kind of channel through your management as well. And that's probably an easier way of handling it.
Yeah.
All right. We have come to our allotted time. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So unless anybody has anything else, we want to just thank you for your time, for meeting with us, and for your great questions today. And please let us know if there's anything we can do to help support you.
And Joel, did we mention that the next office hours we have is this coming Tuesday?
No, it's actually March 20th, I believe.
March 20th.
It was supposed to be this week, and we canceled it because of the meetings in Boston.
Okay.
Oh, hey, there's Mr. Lohmeyer.
He's back.
Perfect.
Just in time.
Just in time. I think we've concluded the training. We had some great questions, and we expressed our appreciation for them taking the time. And I think unless we hear anything else, we're going to let them get back to work.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
And remember, like we said, any problems you have with SafeSpect at all, John's phone number is available on most billboards along that side of
Yeah.
Interstate 10.